What's the difference between a standard and a chromatic hammer dulcimer? Standard, also known as diatonic dulcimers, can play most songs. They're formed with the basis of what are called diatonic scales. Whoops, I hope we didn't lose you there already. So to get a bit more granular, let's take a step back and explore some music theory. A scale is a sequence of notes in order of pitch or frequency. The scale that is chosen by the song's composer will determine the main notes you'll play. And one way to know which scale is chosen is by looking at the key signature. The musical system we use in the West that gives us the pitches to choose our scale from is called 12 equal temperament. The piano keyboard is a great visual for explaining this system. 12 equal temperament divides the space between two of the same letter notes, called an octave, into 12 equally distanced pitches. For example, D to D. Each pitch has what is called a half tone or semitone in between. When you use all 12 semitones in your scale, you are using what is called the chromatic scale. Just start anywhere and work your way up. The next D starts the next octave. A chromatic scale uses all 12 pitches, while diatonic scales pick and choose 7 of the available 12 pitches. The distance between pitches in that diatonic scale were unevenly spaced. There were some intervals of whole tones instead of just semitones. A whole tone is this. Semitone is this. This creates some built-in tension which will be present in the music. A diatonic scale can be any variation of note sequences. The notes selected in a scale are like the colors a painter chooses to paint with. Depending on what order of whole tones or semitones are chosen, the scale sequences can sound brighter and happier, while others sound darker or sadder. The D scale we played was a major scale, which tends to sound relatively bright and cheery. If you'd like to learn more about major and minor scales and keys on the dulcimer, check out this playlist that popped up in the right-hand corner of your screen. Now that we know what a diatonic scale is, how is it set up on the hammer dulcimer? The eighth note starts the next octave. Since diatonic scales are 7-note subsets of the available 12 semitones per octave, the dulcimer is divided into boxes to house these subsets. We distinguish the scales by labeling them as different keys. The major scales start at the marked notes. A standard diatonic dulcimer will have 2 bridges, a treble bridge with mostly higher notes and a bass bridge with mostly lower notes. In order to have access to the other 5 notes of a 12 semitone octave, your dulcimer will need to be a 13/12 or bigger. This is a 16/15. All of our standard diatonic dulcimers, besides the fledgling, are considered mostly chromatic. This is because they can play at least 1 full chromatic octave. On this Phoebe, the chromatic range extends even further. Due to this offset bridge, our diatonic dulcimers have an advantage because they can access the upper notes of a chromatic scale. However, you won't be able to play the full range of chromatic notes from bottom to top. That's why we have dulcimers with chromatic bridges. They are played the same as a diatonic dulcimer with the treble and the bass bridges, but any missing chromatics are added as another bridge. A fully chromatic hammer dulcimer will include the full 12 semitones per octave, ranging from the note starting at the bottom of the bass bridge all the way to the top of the treble bridge. This Finch chromatic has a fully chromatic range of 3+ octaves, which means you can play every semitone in between. with luck.
Good job.
In conclusion, standard or diatonic dulcimers have only two bridges, a treble and a bass bridge. You may not be able to play every song, but they are great for beginning players to learn scales and keys because of the way they're set up. On the other hand, fully chromatic dulcimers have a third bridge that incorporates any missing chromatic notes. As a result, you should be able to play any song on a fully chromatic dulcimer. Chromatic hammer dulcimers give you more versatility, allowing for more depth and expression in your music.